John Pelton here. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how a corn burning stove stays lit, keeps going. May sound easier than it looks or sounds or whatever, but it's really not. Kind of tricky. So this is for educational purposes, or whoever might be watching this video to learn how to do that. And I'm going to show you. Alright, first of all, what we have here on top is the hopper. This is where the corn goes in. About maybe 3 buckets full. Bucket be like about that. Okay. This is a digital control. This is a manual feeder if you want to feed the corn in automatically, but it's digital, so it will take over as soon as it gets to a certain temperature. And to do that, it's kind of tricky. And then there's a little bit of maintenance involved, which I'll show you. This is burnt corn. It's a solid block. That's the byproduct of what comes out of it. And that, what happens is it gets up to a certain level. There's these little air holes in there, and there's a suction, kind of a vacuum going out. The fan down here pulls it out through the top, goes out, and that's what keeps it going just as long as the door is closed. If the door is open, the fire will gradually go out. Alright, heat comes out right here on top. Now, little air holes down there, you probably can't see them because of the fire reflection or whatever. It will, the brick, once it gets to the top, right now it's at the end of the cycle, so this is what I'm going to show you. Once it gets up to that level, here's what you do. Okay, you got two little controls here. One here is for these little pronged grates. I'll show you with my fingers. They look like grates like that, and it's a metal grate, and it goes over the top of the corn when you tap that in. That's the first one. You use this little thing to do that, and a little hammer. And the bottom one here, it controls the bottom of the pan. When it gets about that high, you have to pull out that bottom one and drop that block. But it will go out if you don't have that top one in over the top. Those little metal grates that go over the top of it, it will all drop into the bottom pan down here, and the fire will go out. So that's the trick. You want to show you what you got to do here. Okay. First of all, tap that in. Alright. All we got is those 4 grates, or probably, I don't know, there's more than 4. It just kind of slides over the top of the block. Now the trick is to keep it going on top of those grates to drop the block so that you'll still have a fire going. And to do that, you could just use a little bit of corn from the top of the hopper, but little wood pellets work a lot better. So what you do here, set this down again over here, and you have to open up this door really quickly, otherwise the timer will reset and the fire will go out. And it's a little bit of a pain, so this is what we're trying to do. Keep it going so it doesn't go out. So you throw those wood pellets on top of the grate that's been tapped in down there, and once that gets going on top of those grates, drop the block and then pull the top one so that the fire falls down into the pan. Not exactly rocket science, but works. Like I said, the door, you want to make sure these aren't open too long, or otherwise the digital timer will reset, and you kind of got to unplug it usually, and it's kind of a pain because you have to wait for it to heat up to a certain temperature again before it starts feeding the corn from the hopper down through there with the timer and all that. You got to kind of do it manually and wait and all that, so this saves some time. So now we want to get to where, I'm going to try to hold this camera and do this at the same time with one hand. This is the pan where the block drops. Okay. And these things have to be opened really quickly, otherwise, like I said, the fire will go out, it'll lose vacuum, and it'll reset. So I'm going to put this down over here again, and there's another block in there, and it's the same thing really. I'm going to try to grab it real quick. So you have to kind of do that a few times, get it out of the way, and then grab it real quick, otherwise it'll reset. You got to do it all over. So okay, there's the block, the old block. It's been in there for a day or two, and it's pretty much cooled down. I'll take that and put it over here. Okay, so that's the old one, and if you left it there, it's kind of tricky for people who may learn this in the future or want to know. If you drop that block and you leave it there at the bottom of the pan, and then you drop another one, it'll get stuck on top of the other one, and the fire will go out, and it'll back up, and it'll start smoking, and the whole house will fill with smoke, and it won't be pleasant. So just to ensure this keeps going and doesn't do that, another thing that I do, the wood pellets are going pretty good right now, is take a little piece of starter log here. You don't need much, just a little piece like this, and then what we do, open the door real quick, throw it in real quick, hopefully it did go out. That light will come on again, it's the auger. Alright, it'll blink, you'll see it blink. Just make sure, okay. So the corn's still dropping down in there. And it's going pretty good. Alright, now, here comes the trick. I'm going to drop the block into the pan and pull the grate on the top. So first, I pull out the block. You hear it drop and hit a couple times. Make sure that it's down there. Now, drop that top grate. I'm going to knock some of this stuff. It's kind of stuck up in there. Okay, there it is. The block is down in the pan. I pulled it out, jiggled it back and forth a couple times, make sure it was, you can hear it hit the bottom of the pan when it's down there, and then you pull out the top one, falls down into the pan. Then you got about another day or two before you have to do it again, and it will stay going. If you don't do that process properly, it will either shut off, reset, or back up, and the smoke pours into the house, and it's not a pretty sight. So it takes a while to get used to how to do that. It may look a little easier than it looked, but it's tricky. You have to do things very quickly. And right now I'm gonna show you the corn end of it. So I'm gonna grab a bucket, show you. What we got going here? Oh, that's right here. I got something going in here. This is where I do a little bit of mixing at the box studio here. Doing a little bit of mixing and mastering in here. This is not where I record it or anything like that. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of mixing and mastering in this area. That's what I'm doing today. So, anyways, I'll show you where the corn is. Throw my shoes on here. Alright. Okay, right over here, this is the corn area. Right now we're at about March, what is it, March 9th, something like that. Can't quite remember, March 9th, 10th, something like that. But this is usually, there's a board that's slid in right there. It's about, I don't know, 4 feet high, 4.5, something like that. And the corn will get dropped in through the chute and it'll fill up to about here, about that high from the floor up, as high as this. This has been removed after a couple months. So the point in the date is this was filled up in October sometime. So that's how much corn has been used throughout the winter to keep that stove going. So that's about how much corn it uses in a winter. And pretty much keeps a large percentage of the house warm. I'm just going to grab the corn right now. Do this. There you go. That's one bucket. It's not edible, of course, not the edible kind. It's a different kind of corn. I guess they call that, what do they call that? It's not the edible kind. I'll take this in and drop it in and conclude this video. Alright, and that goes up into there. Common sense. And there it is. The corn burning stove in a nutshell. Or a corn husk, however you want to say it. There you go. Sometimes, you know, there'd be like, what do you call it, creosote, or just build up, you know, from the dust, or whatever. It'll get sometimes in the bottom of collect in the bottom of the pipe there, and up there. And so it should be cleaned like once a year. So that's it. There's a pipe going outside the wall there. Can't see it, but that's it. That just needs to be cleaned out once a year. There you go. The corn burning stove. Hope you enjoyed this educational video. Done by yours truly, John Pelton. I'll see you next time.